There's a fly on me. Now the fly's on you.
No.
Have you ever wondered, am I the asshole? Welcome to Who's the Asshole, a Grindr podcast where we're not only talking, we're getting into it. I'm your host, Katya, and I'm here to probe into your juiciest, messiest stories. So bend over, ladies, because I want to see the receipts. Who's the asshole? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Who's the Asshole. I am your resident asshole expert, Katya Zamolodchikova. Today's guest is a certified triple threat, Emmy-nominated writer, actor, and comedian. You may have seen him in the hit movie Fire Island or acting alongside Maya Rudolph in the Apple TV series Loot. A GLAAD Media Award recipient and one of Forbes 30 Under 30. The incredible, the funny, the gorgeous, the talented, the super interesting, always lovely, never boring. Joel Kim Booster. There's going to be scorch marks in that sofa.
From what?
From being so hot.
Oh, God. People hate me.
They can't stand it.
No,
they can't. They're jealous of your beauty. Wait, so how's your tour been going? You went on my podcast, what was that, a month
Right before
ago?
I started the tour. Yeah. It was a couple weeks ago. And the tour has been going really well. I will say that the second leg of the tour, I had a show in D.C. 3 days after the election. Jesus. And let me tell you, the vibes were immaculate.
Everything was smooth and everybody was calm. And
it's funny because I remember after 2016, like me and a lot of comics were like, I'm going to get up there and speak truth to power. And boy, am I going to like drag him to hell and like all these things. And this time around, I'm like, I've said everything I have to say about this man. Yeah. And I find that the audience appetite to hear a Cheeto joke has so diminished at this point.
What is your schedule like? Is it a grind?
It is a grind. I mean, I'm gone like 5 days out of the week, probably. Okay. And then it's usually a new city for like 5 days in a row. And then I'm back for a couple of days and I get to reset. But it still feels like a grind because when you're only back for 2 days, it's like, what can you do?
What can you do? Laundry.
Laundry, basically. Exactly. Yeah. But it's nice. I enjoy it. I enjoy it less now that I have like a partner and a house and West Coast weed to come back to.
But because if you're in Louisiana,
oh no, yeah,
God help you.
I get like I was taking a tolerance break from weed once, ill-advisedly, and someone in like West Virginia was like, "Do you want a hit?" And I almost took it, and I was like, "Wait, I'm not wasting my tolerance break on this West Virginia weed when I can go back and get the medical grade stuff."
Yeah,
like
stuff
that. I'm not a fool.
The moon.
You know, exactly.
Yeah, that stuff will send you into psychosis.
Exactly.
We don't want that
potpourri.
like West Virginia shake.
Exactly.
Wait, you got engaged?
I got engaged.
To a man?
To a man.
You're gay?
And I know how you feel about marriage.
My views are evolving as I age and acquire more wisdom.
As did mine, because neither one of us were gay marriage gays when we entered into the relationship. We were very much like, let's just be boyfriends for 40 years and that's fine.
But then what do you call your 40-year-old boyfriend? Because you're not boys at all.
No, exactly. And that's when you have to sort of transition to partner, which does not feel great. Not feel great. But I will say partner to me feels better than fiance. Because I'm sorry, I hate that word. The last thing I need in my life is more French. And I am so like
I'm having hors d'oeuvres with my fiance in the foyer.
We gotta come up with something else.
I love that. But what is it? We have to come up with it right now.
We have to come up with it
because I don't do partner.
Now.
Partner is somebody you have shares of a company with, or you bake bread with them or whatever.
It does like give like business partner. It's like I don't know. I guess like what I would say instead of fiance would be
gay male lover,
future property.
Okay, my sex, your sex,
my love. Lover, we
Lover
can't. We
can't do
can't
lover.
do that. We can't do that.
But you can say fiance, but there's a time limit on it. How long do you plan to stay engaged before the connubials?
I think it's probably going to be 1 or 2 years, probably. Only because of the nature of my work, it's very hard to plan in advance for something because
You could get married tomorrow. What are you talking about?
It's true,
What are you
but, like,
afraid of?
The whole reason, I will say, one of the main reasons why we decided to get engaged and get married is that I want to throw a party. And like, yes, I could throw any kind of party I want, and it doesn't have to be connected to the wedding, but I do want it to be a production, and I'm in a place in my life where I'm lucky enough where I can make it a production.
I have a suggestion. You have to charge for attendance.
Really?
Absolutely.
No, I think what I'm going to do...
$50 tickets to the wedding.
I'm not going to charge. I'm just going to get Pure for Men to sponsor.
Oh, yeah, sponsor. They could sponsor your tuxedo.
Exactly.
Yeah, really
come
tacky.
out. Yeah, I know. It's just like little gift bags of Pure for Men at every table.
Oh my God. Sponsored by Wet Platinum.
But no, I think for us, for me, and this is maybe a little too earnest for this podcast, but we talked for a long time right before I knew I wanted to propose to him. And
you first.
Oh yeah, because I'm the top. And so, I'm the boy. I had to do it. And my assumption for so long was I would meet someone, I would fall in love with that person, I would be in love with that person forever, and that's that. But we talked one night and we realized that in the 3 years that we've been together, both of us have changed in a lot of different ways. And what I realized, and what both of us realized, is that I'm so excited to fall in love with the next iteration of him as well. And I'm convinced and I'm confident that I will be. And then the iteration after that. And our joke is that iteration 4 will suck, but we'll ride it out until iteration 5. And
peaks and valleys.
And I think once we realized that it wasn't about stasis, it was about making a commitment to grow together and putting into work to make sure that we maintain that. I think it was well, why not just pull the trigger and make these promises in front of our friends and sort of make that promise in front of our friends of we're going to work so that you don't end up in another one of these things.
Yes. Yeah. What do you think about lavish third weddings?
No, at that point, babe,
hang it up, Susie.
Dave and Buster's. Okay,
yeah, totally.
Dave and Buster's.
Elope. I love it. I love the idea of marriage, and I love it when people are on their third, fourth, or fifth marriage, and they're so blinded by the chemicals of love that they're it's inconceivable that this time it won't work.
Yeah.
I love that delusion.
And the thing is that I think for us, it doesn't. I do think he's endgame, but I do think that we want to make that statement in front of our friends, and really, it's like when you say you're going to I'm putting out an album. I haven't started working on it yet, but I'm
writing a book.
When you tell all your friends you're doing something as a way of accountability to actually do it, and it's just so embarrassing to get divorced.
Are you going to merge your assets?
No.
Good.
No. And there will be a prenup, and he's totally fine with that. And it doesn't. That's not why we're getting married. The thing is we're getting married for all of the reasons that I just mentioned. It's not about financials, and it's a more. And you're gonna kill me. Part of the reason we decided to get married at the time, and this is now a little up in the air, is we decided we wanted to have kids.
You want to have kids. You're gonna adopt children. You're gonna have human children in your house.
I think the thing is that I was not super interested in kids for a long time, but being in love with this person, I am sort of we would collaborate on something really cool. I think we'd make something really awesome together.
Yeah. You know what? I think most people, myself included, are so selfish and self-centered that I can't even conceive. I'm the baby.
Yeah,
I'm the baby. I can't have a baby because I'm baby.
No, totally.
Do you know what I mean? And I'd a lot of straight folks I've noticed they go through the typical milestones. Gay people, especially entertainment, we have a lot of different types of milestones. Emmys, do you know what I mean? Golden Globes, all these other achievements. So I think for a lot of straight people, it's having a baby is the last fun thing you can do.
No, yeah, it is I think a lot of people do it as a result of what's next.
Also, they just get pregnant.
Yeah, no, exactly. Accidental, whatever. But I do know a lot of people, especially people I went to high school with, who were like, well, what's next? You know, and it's just sort of the natural progression of things. But I think for us, like,
Boy or girl?
I think we want to start with both.
Two?
And just
once?
get it out of the way. Whether or not they're like actually blood related or not, or we just like sort of pick. But I think,
Same age.
Yeah.
Nemesis.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll
fierce.
pit them against each other. And then,
naturally.
you know, age 13, we'll decide which one we go with.
It'll be like a long audition to see who makes it into the young adulthood. What if one of them turns out to be a secret oldie like in The Orphan?
Oh, I actually would sort of love
That would be so...
I would love that, and I would support her. I'd say lean in.
Honey, you're 23. We're going. Come on, we're going to the bar. Whatever.
Exactly.
That is so fierce. Secret oldie.
Like she read the book. She's leaning in. She's just girl bossing her way through life.
Okay. Wait. What is this wedding? Is there anything like? Are you going to do traditional? What are you going to do? Classic?
It's not going to be. I don't think it'll be super.
You're going to wear a tuxedo.
I have no idea. We have not. We don't have a ton of specifics planned out yet. But like, I think for me, both like his mom and his dad and his sister will come, and maybe a cousin or two. But none of my family is making it to this wedding, and so it's all going to be
like Kill Bill.
It's going to be gay guys.
Oh, okay.
It's just going to be gay guys.
Okay, gotcha.
And so like, there will be no cha-cha slide. It's all going to be like disco house music that you hear at a warehouse downtown LA. You know, and like I think
don't do choreo, please.
My thing is there's two kinds of people who plan weddings. I think that there are people who are like, this is for me, and like I want it to, you know, and you better show up for me. For us, I'm lucky enough to be in a position where I'm like, I'm asking these people to come to this, and I've been to so many weddings. I'm like, this is going to be the best weekend of your life, and I'm going to make sure of it.
Yeah, no exceptions.
Exactly. And so like that's how I'm approaching the wedding.
I love
is that like I want it to feel like, I don't want it to seem like a sacrifice. I don't want people to get the invitation in the mail like, and be like, great, you know, we have to go to this wedding now. No.
It's either an obligation or like some grim you know, affair to like endure, or it can be like the social event of the season.
Yeah, I went to a gay wedding once where they walked us all outside and we were like, what's going on? And then Katy Perry's Fireworks started to play. And we're like, oh, okay, we know what's about to happen. And then the entire song played and we were like, okay. And then the song started playing over again. And we were like, what's happening? Is this a social experiment? And then halfway through the second time through the fireworks began. And so we were like, we're getting the fireworks. But because of the timing of it, they had to start the song a third time to finish the fireworks
it's like
show.
A Marina Abramovich postmodern like endurance piece.
Exactly, but I gotta say, it was the best part of the wedding for me because I was like, I'm walking out of here with this story, and it was a beautiful wedding otherwise.
Okay, Joel, enough about your wedding. Let's play a game, and it's called or Not. Basically, it's a moral investigation of behavior. Okay. So here we go. Telling someone you're not looking for anything serious after multiple dates, say 3 to 4 dates.
Definitely behavior. Yeah. I think, because I think it's totally fine to start that process with that in mind. And then it's on the person that you're going. Like if you immediately up front, before date 1, are saying, this is just for fun, we're going to around, and like I would love to keep hanging out with you, but just so you know, et cetera, then the onus is on them of like,
I love that word,
of saying like, okay, because a lot of people hear that at the beginning and they say, but not for me.
I'll change
them.
Yeah.
Like he just
once
needs
he gets
enough
a taste
time.
of this,
he'll be. But revealing it on the 3rd date is
entrapment.
I think that happens because obviously that person knows that going in most of the time, but I do think that sometimes that's the person's out. Like they've given it 3 dates and then they realize, oh my God, I'm not into this person. How do I get out of this? And then that's their excuse.
How do you think there's like a really slick, like non-way way to say like, okay, after 3 dates, I really want to keep you, but I don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah, and I think that that's totally fair to like. It's all about honesty and communication. Of being like, I think we have this really great connection. I don't think that it's going to go beyond this. And then you know, the person might feel the same, might be heartbroken,
Would
might
you
break
take
it
that
off.
lightly?
I think depending on the sex.
Was it say the sex was like A plus, but like everything else was like, ugh.
Yeah, I would continue on with that because
How would you broach that?
I would say it at the point of almost making you. It would be like, and this is as much as I want. You know,
Right. That's a good technique.
but I was not a dater before I met my before I met my boyfriend. We're just gonna say it for now.
Don't you? Yeah, your gay lover. Your gay male lover.
My gay male
Your
lover.
betrothed.
Yeah, my betrothed.
Yeah.
Until I met him because I was always sort of like, I hate whenever my friends would talk and be like, well, I'll give it another date. I'm not necessarily feeling it, but like, let's give it a little bit more time and then maybe I'll start to feel it. I was never that person. I was always immediately like, if it's not there, I'm not going to Fazoli's with you to sit and try and make small talk until the chemistry appears.
Yeah,
like,
they're not like, it's not like Madonna's B-sides that may or may not grow on you after like 6 or 7 listens.
I don't think that happens.
Yeah, I don't
really
think so either. Okay, what about this one? Homeschooling your children.
I think this is a very context-dependent thing. I was famously homeschooled by religious people who did not teach me about sex or evolution or math or a lot of science, to be honest, or geography. And so
what did they teach about the magical power of the wind?
like most of my science education growing up before I went to public school was justifying how the Bible could be right in the face of all of what we've learned about science. It's like actually like Bible dinosaurs were in the Bible and it just is an interpretation issue. It was crazy. I do think though, like I think about this when I'm having my kids because the state of what the public school like and the right sort of decimating public schools and the way education is moving, there is a certain part of me that's like, I don't know, I kind of want to be able to control, you know, what they're you know, being exposed to and making sure that they're able to learn the real history of this country and not what is being spoon fed to a lot of people in public schools or private schools for that matter now. And so it depends on like if you're doing it in a like a crunchy hippie progressive way or if you're doing it in a
weird Carrie White kind of way.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have loved to be in like homeschooled by, you know, Stephen Hawking, Albert Einstein, Gloria Steinem.
No, I mean, like, I know a lot of families in New York who are like, today we're going to the museum. And then, like, you're going to write about what you saw at the museum and what you learned there. And that's, like, part of their homeschooling. And then, like, there's, like, plenty of ways to do it right in a way that, because, like, clearly traditional schooling doesn't work for everybody.
Right.
You know, like, sitting in a classroom. Actually, 8 hours a day. I mean, the fact that we used to have to wake up at like 5 a.m. to go to high school.
We were not allowed to drink water.
No, it's true. And it is like, and then now like, it's like, oh, there's something wrong with the schools. We better put police there, you know? And it's like, we're not addressing any of the actual issues that make education a problem. So I am not opposed to the idea of homeschooling as long as there's oversight and that there, you know, there's someone qualified doing it.
Yeah.
I think for me, like homeschooling was really tough because thank God I like to read. Like I fell in love with reading really early on. And so I would just like read and read and read and read and read. And then by the time I made it to public school at my junior year, I was so far advanced writing and reading. And so I was like,
socialization,
socialization, I was always a very like charismatic, like friendly, like social kid. The thing I had to learn about though was I didn't realize that people lied and that people talked about their friends behind their back. Like that was like a real shocking moment for me. And I, of course, was like, you know, I would hear it and then I'd be like, you know, Emily, everybody thinks that you're always late. Like you should probably maybe like set an alarm or something like that because they're always talking about how you're late, you know, and like I lost. Like, it was so funny because I arrived at school and people were like, you're so normal, you're so cool, you're funny, you're like, you seem like, I can't believe you're homeschooled. And then something like that would happen and they'd be like, oh.
I was the perpetrator of those crimes. Yes. My entire friend group, the whole 4 of them, I used to talk about each of them to each other. I was a real bastard in 7th grade, and they all got me one day and iced me out for a week.
And when I found out people were talking about me behind my back,
were you devastated?
Yeah, and it really did like me up for a long time, all the way through college. I would just like be the person who I just didn't trust people, and I still don't trust people because I mean, I have one good friend who has now twice sent me a text talking me to me 2 times this has happened.
And I love like backstabbing and lazy.
And have I spent every Thanksgiving for the last 5 years with this person? Yes, I have.
I mean, I think there's a reason there was a big jewelry boom in like the early 2010s of those necklaces that said "Trust no." You know,
you can't. But the thing you kind of realize is that depending on what it is not. Sometimes you do need to vent about a friend.
Of course you do. It's nothing.
And it's not necessarily.
It's not something they ever need to hear. Exactly. It's something you need to say.
Right. And there is a fine line though, because I remember when my boyfriend was sort of absorbed into my friend group, we were famous for being like, oh my God, she did it again. She did XYZ. This is crazy. And he, not knowing, coming from San Francisco, this sweet boy, finally started giving the notes. And our friend group was like, wait, what? And he was like, well, you could just tell them not to do that anymore. And I was like, no, that's not how that works. We create a separate group chain to talk about this issue. Like you can't tell them to stop, body shaming our other friend. Like you just have to let it go.
Oh my God. I mean, I have a friend who, if you have some to talk about somebody else with him, he tells that person before you're even done telling him what it is. Like, it is so diabolical how much this person, and he will offer up the most intimate secrets of a person that you've never met before to you unsolicited. It is so wild. So it's nice to have someone like that you don't go to them for any secret information. Like, please keep this a secret.
Because it's not about giving the note. It's not about solving a problem.
It's just venting. Because if you want to solve a problem, you go to that person like a adult. Yeah. Okay, what about canceling plans with friends for an impromptu hookup?
I think there's a lot of context involved in making this decision, because it's like, am I in New York visiting a friend that I have not seen in years? It's like, of course you don't do that. Right. Is it a game night where there's 21 people there that my presence will not be missed and I can show up at the end of Catan and dive right in after I've gotten my back blown out? Then who cares? But I think it really depends on the level of friend, the kind of hangout that you're missing, and obviously who you're talking to. Yeah.
Would you cancel your dinner plans with Hugh Jackman to hook up with Ryan Reynolds?
I would definitely cancel on Hugh because of what he did to that woman.
Oh God, I don't even know what he did.
Sutton Foster. He's dating her now, and I think that's disgusting.
Would you cancel your plans with Paul Mescal to Aaron Taylor Johnson?
Yeah, absolutely, I would.
God, he's hot.
Paul will be around. Paul.
Oh yeah, he's not going anywhere. What about expecting to be friends with your ex?
I think unfortunately, I think for us, it's a much different question than a lot of straight people, because there's just not a lot of us. And especially depending on what city you're in, how big the scene is, I think and depending on obviously the context of the breakup,
were there knives?
Right. Yeah. If it was an amicable sort of we've reached the end of the road, I think the chances are you will end up in the same space, especially if you're self-selecting into you like the same things, you have the same friends, you do the same activities. Then I think that there is a reasonable expectation that you can at least be friendly with your ex. But if that person has,
boiled your bunny
Venmo account and is catfishing multiple people as a Brazilian, singer, and then I think it moves into territory
where you can delete. Yeah. What about designing your own engagement ring?
Which did you know that I did this? Not an asshole thing at all. Not an thing at all. In fact, made
What
it
about
very
being an
easy.
Asian actor in love?
No, it was perfect because we were friends with a jewelry designer, and I called him and I said, I'd like you to design the ring. And he said, oh, JM has spent the last 6 years telling me what he wants, what he doesn't want, what he likes, the kind of ring he wants.
is it?
It was easy mode. And so all I had to do was put the ring sizer on him while he slept, and then send out, and it was like, it was cheating, honestly. And then he got exactly the ring that he wanted,
like?
you know?
What did
It's like a burnished, like sort of like textured gold ring. I will say, I love you, Elliot, the designer. He's brilliant. Definitely, and Jam loves the ring. When I first saw it, it is riding the line of the Shire, I will say. Like it is, it does look a
love
little
that.
like one ring to rule them
that's
all
great,
a little
though.
bit, but he loves it. And
Okay.
that's like the most
I
important.
thought we were going to say it's a pink diamond, and it's like,
No.
no.
You think
Where's
it's
your
pointless?
ring?
I don't. This is not my wedding ring. I said to him, I said, because he was like, "Oh, do you want an engagement ring?" And I said, "That's your problem, not my circus, not my monkeys.
you.
If you want to get me a ring, you better
Yeah.
figure out what I want." And I love setting him out on a mission and a challenge and a riddle.
Yeah,
It's great.
So he got you an obsidian ring. Yeah. Okay. Fabulous. Okay. So now we're going to shift over to some user stories. We put out a hotline. People call in with the most insane things. We're going to judge them on a level of psycho-ness.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get our little phone in here, and I'm going to press the button to put
gorgeous.
it on speakerphone. Boop.
Last month, I've been dog sitting across the county, and occasionally I get a little lonely, so I've invited a gentleman suitor over, and 2 out of the 3 times, these men have acted as though I'm committing some sort of mortal sin by having sex in someone else's home when they are not there. I need to know, am I told for having sex in someone else's marital bed? I of course would wash the sheets, but I don't know, these men are acting like pilgrims. So please let me know.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, you know what? This is interesting because this happened to a friend of mine just yesterday. He went on a trip for 3 weeks and had a guy stay there. So it was kind of understood that he was going to be, but didn't do the laundry and used all of his lube.
and didn't replace.
Remember, do you know how expensive silicone lube is in these times?
in this economy?
Yeah. I
And,
have a
and
gallon.
get ready for the tariffs, honey.
No, it's for real. It's like Gillette Mach 3 razors and lube will bankrupt you.
And silicone especially is a
Yeah.
little bit. This is the thing about this question is that I have 2 thoughts about this, and then A is how close are you to these people that you're dog sitting for?
Yeah. And are the dogs in the room?
Yeah, because what they see, they will remember.
Yeah, and they will tell the owners.
Because like if it's a close friend, I almost like always when I have friends stay at my house, it's sort of like I kind of am like, yeah, you're probably gonna have sex there, and it doesn't bother me. If this is like you're a gig economy job where you're like you've picked it up from TaskRabbit, that seems a little inappropriate to me. But the third question I have is, why are you telling these guys that you don't live there? Like, it's like, why give them even the context to have the discussion? It seems like my best piece of advice for you, because it sounds like you're going to do what you're going to do, because you are feral, is just not to tell them that you don't live there.
Yeah.
Don't
and
give them
also
context.
leave no trace.
Leave no campground rules. Leave
Outdoor,
it better
do it in the
than you
backyard.
found
Yeah,
it.
exactly. That's why God invented shower sex.
Oh, shower sex? You want to talk about shower sex?
Yes, I do.
Where someone is always being waterboarded at all times while you're having sex. If you're having shower sex, you're being waterboarded or you're out of the water, shivering cold. Either way, it's zero dark 30 every single time you're in the shower.
Not at the Ritz-Carlton in Charlotte, North Carolina. Because let me tell you something, this is going to be unrelatable and probably obnoxious to the listeners, but I don't give a I had the pleasure of, the bathroom was the substance bathroom times 3.
Okay.
Times 3. It was enormous. It was as big as this room. It had a bench.
So it's not just a bathtub with
No. And it had 3 jets that spun out all the way across the room.
That's a horse of a different
and
color.
then
Sure.
it had another little feature, like a wand. You could have had like the Green Bay Packers in there, and everybody would have had plenty of space, plenty of warmth. it was like
I'm
it was
talking
incredible.
about your average New York
I know.
apartment.
No.
where the angle of the is not conducive. And one of the greatest lies, water is not lube. Water is not lube. It is, in fact, it does not help you in there.
I know.
It does not help you in there.
I think Showgirls really turned
It really did.
That gave a lot of people the wrong idea.
Because I also don't enjoy it in a hot tub or a pool. Like foreplay, sure, like that's fine and good. But like you try and get inside there.
Yeah. So what do we think about the dog guy?
I think that you probably should be traveling, not hosting.
Yes.
If you are, if you don't have explicit permission from the dog owners at the house.
Yeah, you give the dogs a little Benadryl and you go out.
Yeah.
Okay, so next segment, we are going to discover if we are the assholes. Are we the heads? Are we the box mother? So basically, just to start off, are you on the grid?
I am on the grid.
You are on the grid.
I make frequent appearances on the grid.
Okay, you're a mainstay of the grid. Do you want to tell us about your best or worst Grindr experiences?
I'll talk about the 23-year-old.
Okay.
Because this is like you're talking to strangers, you don't know, you're building a rapport. And I was speaking to this young man, and we had a fun, shady, like teasing rapport back and forth.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. That personally, I do not care for.
The teasing, and
Yeah,
the negging.
I don't like you. We have not met in person. Sarcasm is not on the table.
No. I'm inclined to agree, but like I think in this case, it never crossed any sort of line into actual negging, which I think is a huge problem in our community. But I at one point was like, I'm old, I have to go to bed, I'm so sorry. And he was like, okay, boomer, haha, and or something along those lines. And I, again, like totally in bounds with what the relationship we had set up. And I said, well, at least I look younger than you do, LOL. And then he decided to take it from that to, well, adult acne and acne scars will do that for a person. And Gen Z's ability to zero in on your greatest insecurity is what I was so shocked. I stopped responding, obviously. And of course, this is the thing that was the big disconnect for me, was like the next day he kept being like, when are you coming over? When are you coming over? Me, I'm like blah blah blah, like, and I was like, well, never now,
unless you're a dermatologist who's going to give me microdermabrasion. Apparently,
please, like, if you can give me a chemical peel, then maybe. But it was so bizarre that so that was definitely one of the worst ones. I had one recently, a regular on my home grid, and they sent pictures that were clearly from a different era, and
they were daguerreotypes.
Yeah.
They were like sepia.
Exactly. Yeah. Pro tip: always look at how many cameras are on the back of the phone in the mirror. But they arrived, and I'm really bad at saying no. I'm really bad at
shutting things down.
At when they arrive, it's sort of like, well, get in here.
You showed up to the door. We got to have sex.
Yeah,
really.
And this one, I was like, how do I make this sexy for me? And so I was like, do you like role play? And he was like, yeah, I could get into that. What's the scenario? And I was like, what if I was not into you and I wanted you to leave, but for some reason I was just so there's something about the way you are so persistent that I give in, but the whole time I'm not into it, and
did that work?
And he was like, yeah, that sounds hot. And
what if I'm Elizabeth Moss in The Invisible Man, but you don't like me?
Yeah.
And so, and we do that.
Yeah.
That's wild. So I'm on Grindr, and I moved to a neighborhood that is a lot of gay everywhere. Just so much, just very densely area. And I know that in my building, because I'm relying on the accuracy of GPS and Grindr, to 0 feet away means they're there. Downstairs.
They're using the same Wi-Fi network.
Yeah. So I'm like, do I or don't I? Because like
It's a roll of the dice. It's a
because you
roll of the
could
dice.
have a reliable. I mean, people in New York, I don't think even venture like a quarter of a mile outside of their radius,
Yeah, no.
But like in LA, I'm not going to go downtown to somebody.
No.
But so, what do you think? Do I like risk it or?
I think you wait until you see them in the mailroom.
I've seen him.
Oh, well then yeah. Absolutely.
What if it goes terribly wrong?
If it goes terribly wrong, then you just don't make eye contact. That happens.
I'll have to
Like,
move.
and like neither one of you will probably admit that it went terribly wrong unless somebody's is ripped right off.
Right. Or there's another neighbor moderating.
Exactly.
Let's see. What is your best dating advice? Like for me, I'm 42 years old. I've never had a boyfriend. Not because I'm crazy or weird. It's just because I have not met the right person. What kind of advice do you have
I have
to me?
two things because I didn't have a boyfriend until I was 33. My current fiance, and for me, it was two things, which is when you know.
Yes. Yes.
It is not something that will grow. It is not something that like you can force to happen. Yeah. No matter how much you like the person, if you don't have that feeling immediately, it's not going to come by date 3.
Yeah.
That is my belief.
Yeah. I remember when I was 16, this kid that I was like the first love of my life. He was straight, of course, but he was like a vampire goth guy. And he like glowed. I was like, whenever I saw him, I literally like exploded. It was like, that's the kind of like thing that I'm looking for.
And that's how I said the second day after I met my partner, I said to my friend, I'm going to marry that man. And they all thought I was crazy, but I knew. And like, I had never felt that way about anybody else in my entire life. And I think that it is just like, at least for me, I was not someone who was going to wait around and waste time trying for to fall in love with someone, because like for me, it's just like, when you can't force it. Listen to your gut. The other thing that I think is important is to be specific about what you're looking for and really like question and like determine within yourself, like what are the core things that actually are important to you about another person. And, like mine was like, I want him to be kind. I need him to be able to keep up with me. I need him to not within the first 15 minutes of meeting him, bring up how disgusting he thinks homeless people are, which is a tall order in LA. And I needed him to be curious, just like generally like somebody who would like continue to want to experience things and like grow with me. And it wasn't a long list, but it was. He met all those criteria. And I think some people I know have long lists, some people I know have shorter lists, but just having some idea of what actually is important to you in the context of a relationship, which is harder to do when you've never been in a relationship. But like, I think you got to know yourself well enough to know what you need.
I mean, I've been in relationships, none of which have lasted much longer than like months.
3 months before this. Like, so
you can't say it's a relationship under 3 months,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
It's like that's an excursion or whatever. Yeah. Do you ever miss being single?
No, I don't. I think, the biggest thing is we are in a non-monogamous relationship and it works for us, and I am able to, like, it's funny, like,
you're like Batman and Robin in the sex movie.
Yeah. And then the thing is like that, I guess, is the one thing that like would make it miss it. But like, I have this person who grounds me, like I was saying before, who knows me better than anybody else in the entire world. I could not imagine going back out there and dating and trying to form that connection with someone else. Like having someone in my life who knows me inside out, who can like clock from across the party when I'm ready to go because of just the shift. He actually knows when I'm looking at the comment section of one of my videos, like on the couch, he'll be like, turn it off.
Stop it. That's amazing.
Turn it off. And it is, and the support and the everything that I get from the actual relationship is so much better than any of the random or dating that I do. And I don't. And it's funny because like sometimes like when I'm traveling, I'll go to the big rave or whatever with my friends, and it's like, oh yeah, I get to like sort of like be a single entity, and then I quickly am over it immediately because you get so used to having the safety net and like home. I call him my home because he is like.
How long have you lived together?
We've lived together for 2 years.
Is it? That is unimaginable.
I thought it would be.
Do you sleep in the same bed?
We sleep in the same bed. I thought I would hate it. I, in fact, told him, "You're not moving in until you go back to the office." And then he is working from home permanently now. His company is not going back to the office, and I was like, "Well, I don't know if I can deal with being around a person for the entire day." And now I can't imagine it any other way.
Look at that. Love wins, everybody.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay. So, would you rather have sex with the final person, like the last man standing of a horror movie, or the killer in your favorite horror movie? Actually, I want to make this more simple first. Freddy or Jason? Who you
Jason.
Jason or Michael Myers?
Jason.
Jason or Jigsaw?
Well, which Jigsaw?
Not the one on the tricycle.
Okay, but there have been multiple versions. I guess I would say Jason again.
Jason or Candyman? You're just Jason all the time.
No. I'd say in the remake, Candyman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Candyman or Pinhead.
Wow.
You know Pinhead's got it. Pinhead's got the death.
I would top Pinhead. I would bottom. But I wouldn't bottom for him.
Oh yeah,
he doesn't
too
get
painful.
The price. He doesn't get the price. You know,
too painful. He wouldn't need any lube, and he would love it. Okay, was there a piece of media in particular, or a celebrity crush that made you realize you were gay, or how I would phrase this question: what turned you gay?
Okay, so I actually think that this is like everybody loves this question. Everybody asks this question at parties.
Who turned you? Like vampires,
or like what piece of media, or like what was your first thing? Yeah. I think there's actually two answers to this question, because it's what made you sexually gay and what made you culturally gay.
Ooh,
I think
that's
those are
deep.
two different. Because you ask this question, and some people say like death becomes her, and it's like, you're answering the cultural.
Like, I love that movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some people will say like James Marsden and X-Men or something like that.
Oh, that's a fascinating dichotomy.
For me, the sexual part of it would be Scott Bakula in the opening credits of Quantum Leap, because when he's in that that blue smoke and that tan bodysuit, I at 4 years old thought that that's what a naked man looked like. I had no frame of reference at that point, and I was so fascinated. I was like, I want to see this more and more and more. And so that was like a sexual awakening for me. I remember, in fact, I was jumping from couch to couch. There's a coffee table in the middle of it, and my sister had put on Quantum Leap, and suddenly I saw him in that blue smoke, and like almost mid-air went, and I fell and gashed my head onto the coffee table and had to get stitches, because that is how powerful my gay awakening was. And I would say, like, for me, the cultural gay awakening would be Famke Johnson in GoldenEye killing a man with her thighs, because I said, I didn't realize that was an option. And I was like, women can be so powerful. And
Years.
she
I love
should be
that.
president.
I love that. That's a really good distinction between what is like, and it's all you could ask this, like, what was the moment you knew you were gay, and when could other people figure it out? Like by your interest. Let's see. How is Maya Rudolph?
Maya Rudolph, I've said this all over the press, is one of the loveliest people that I've ever met. Completely normal in a way that, like, exiting one of the most stressful machines in the entertainment industry, that is SNL, to exit that after years and years and years and be so normal and lovely is a miracle. She is, I always lead with this, an incredible mom, loves her family to death, drives her kids to dance class, like goes to the dance competitions by the Hyatt still. Like, it is not a 5-nanny situation.
Bribes the judges.
Yeah, no, exactly. You know, and the thing is about that is that when the number one on the call sheet loves their family and actually wants to get home to spend time with their family, it makes the working environment so much better than when you are working with some man who does not care if he ever sees his wife or children ever again. You know, and so
George Clooney. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
And so, you know, she's a dream to work for, and it's a dream come true for me because I think like the sort of conventional wisdom is that the SNL cast she watched between 13 and 16 is always going to be the iconic cast for you. And for me, that's Maya, Anna Gasteyer, Rachel Dratch, Amy, you know, like those group of women, really shaped my comedic sensibilities today. And so to be working alongside of her is, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
Who is the most dazzling, like, take your breath away kind of like starstruck person you've ever met?
I was seated very close to Lupita Nyong'o at an event once, and it is like.
Did you stare just awkwardly?
Yeah, no, and it is like we talk about the RuPaul filter. It's just on her permanently. It's just on her.
She's permanently glimmer glass.
Permanently.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. The other one was I was seated at an event across the table from Megan Fox.
Oh, Jesus!
And like
I would like.
Did the most iconic thing I have ever seen in my entire life, which is I watched her. The meal hadn't been served yet. She picked up the knife, looked at herself in the knife, adjusted her makeup and hair in this knife, and then put it down like Ariel. And I was like, I stopped. We hadn't really been introduced like more than like, hey, I'm sitting at your table. And I just reached across and I was like, I just have to let you know, I'm so sorry, I'm gay. And that was something that I'll never forget.
That thingamabob you just checked your hair in, that was well, thank you so much, and good luck on the rest of your tour.
You know, will need it.
And congratulations on your.
Listen, I know you hate me for it.
I don't hate you for it. I just think it's no. I think it's the
you think
most
it's
wonderful
a sham. You think it's a joke.
Where can the children find you?
You can find me Instagram. I Hate Joel Kim is where I'm posting like most of the updates about what's going on in my life.
Well, thank you so much. Goodbye. Bye. And to everybody, have a wonderful day. Use a condom. Use the condom. I'm bringing condoms back.